This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so as I told you, what we are going to do in this session is we are just going to understand the basics of SAP S/4HANA. What exactly is SAP S/4HANA? What were the previous versions which came with SAP? What are the other competitors of SAP? Okay, so these are the things that we will try to understand in today's session. So as I told you, it should be pronounced as SAP, no SAP, no SAP, right? So what exactly is SAP? As I told you, SAP is an ERP. Okay, now the question will come to your mind, what exactly is ERP then? ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Okay, what exactly is Enterprise Resource Planning? Are you able to hear me clearly? Raj is saying there is no audio.
Yes, we can.
Raj, can you confirm now if you are able to hear me clearly? Okay. Yeah. So SAP is an ERP, which stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. What exactly is ERP now? Okay, that is the second question. What exactly is the ERP? So ERP is kind of a software, okay, but only benefit of implementing ERP is it is an integrated software. So I'm just introducing the simple terms rather than making it very complicated. So ERP we can say is an integrated software which integrates various modules or various functions of an organization. Okay, let me give you a simple example here. Can you just name some of the functions within the organization? Some of the departments maybe you can think about in this way. What are the different functions that an organization does? Just think about a manufacturing company and can you tell me what are the different departments this organization has and what are the different functions they are performing?
Production.
Procurement, someone has said, yeah. What else?
Marketing.
Marketing, so I'll say sales and marketing.
Sales, accounting.
HR.
Accounting,
Finance.
Supply chain.
HR, finance,
Production.
Warehouse.
production. What
Warehouse.
else? Warehouse, yes. Okay, let's
Supply chain.
limit supply chain. Yeah, let's limit it to here itself. We already know that there are many others, but these are good for the example's sake. So these are the different functions that the organization does on day-to-day basis. Think about any manufacturing company. In order to manufacture anything, they definitely need to procure. Procurement means nothing, purchasing. So you need the raw materials which can be used in the production process. If you are manufacturing a laptop, you need a RAM, you need a hard disk, you need a screen, you need a mouse, you need to the keypad, right? Then only you'll be able to manufacture the laptop. So before you manufacture the laptop, you need to have a purchase department who will be responsible to purchase these materials. Same way, there is a sales and marketing department. What is the responsibility of the sales and marketing department? They are responsible for selling the products in the market. Any company, will they survive without selling anything into the market? Definitely not. Most of the companies, whatever they are manufacturing, whatever, even if they are a trading company who are just buying and selling, ultimately everything depends upon their sale. All their balance sheet, profit and loss is totally dependent on how much they are selling. So it is very important function. Accounting, so whatever they are doing, whatever they are selling, whatever they are purchasing, everything involves the accounting, right? So if you are purchasing some material, how much you need to pay to the vendor, that is accounting. If you are selling to the customer, how much you need to pay, sorry, how much you need to collect from the customer is again accounting, right? Same way HR. So there are a lot of HR activities which are done in the organization. HR is responsible for recruitment, HR is responsible for payroll processing, HR is responsible for any bonuses that they want to give to the employees. So all these functions are carried out in the HR department of the organization. Similarly, finance is once your accounting is done, if you want to make the reporting based on whatever accounting you have done, so you want to generate your balance sheet, profit and loss, cash flow statements. Okay, so those are nothing but will come under finance. Obviously, production, manufacturing. In order to store the material, you need a warehouse. Okay, and overall, when it comes to selling, purchasing, production, entire thing is termed as a supply chain. So these are some of the examples. These are some of the departments which are available in most of the companies. Now think in this way. This is a very big company. Just think in this way that the example that we are taking is a very big company. So what was done previously? If it is a small company, what it will do? If it is a small company, they will buy a separate software for each department. Okay, still there are many companies. If you go to the smaller companies, if you ask them, okay, which software you are using to manage your procurement, they will say we are using this software. Which software you are using for sales and marketing, they will say some another software. Which software you are using for accounting and finance, most probably the smaller companies in India at least will say Tally. They are using Tally to manage their accounting and finance. Which software you are using for HR, again they will give you some name that this is a software that we are using for HR. For production, again a separate software. For warehouse, again a separate software. Supply chain, again a separate software. So most of the smaller companies, they are using independent softwares for each department. Now that is exactly the difference between the ERP and the normal software. When we say ERP, ERP is an integrated software. This wording is very important. Integrated software. What do you mean by integrated software? So instead of, if a customer is asking you that I have these departments in my company and I want to manage them all in integrated way. What do you mean by integrated way? Integrated way means I need a single software which is capable of handling all these functions. I don't want separate software for procurement, separate software for sales and marketing, separate software for accounting and finance. I want a single software which can give me all these functionalities, okay, and that will make the life easy. How it will make the life easy? Just think, you are from procurement department, I am from accounting department. So if I want to, let's say you are from the procurement department, you created a purchase order and sent it to the supplier. Now supplier has sent the material, that material will come in warehouse. Okay, and supplier will send the invoice. That invoice will come to accounting. Now your supplier is asking you to make the payment. You created a purchase order from the procurement, but you are not aware whether the material has been received in the warehouse or the invoice has been received by the accounting team or not. Because you are using completely different softwares. If you are not using ERP, then there will be a huge problem. As a procurement team, how will you be able to know that whether the material has been received in the warehouse or the invoice has been received in the accounting department or not? There is manual work involved. You will call to the warehouse team or you will send the mail to the warehouse team asking them that this vendor is asking for payment. Have you received the material? You will wait till the time this guy is not responding. Similarly, if this guy has responded that yes, material has been received, you will go to the accounting team and you will check with them whether the invoice has been received or not. Again, you will be dependent on the accounting department. He can take 1 or 2 days just to tell you yes, whether the invoice has been received or not. So that will unnecessarily delay the entire process. Okay, what is the solution here? The solution is, if I have an integrated software, this procurement department can directly go and see the purchase order history. In the purchase order history, it will clearly show him that the material has been received on this date. It will also tell him whether the invoice has been received or not. If it is received, what is the status? When is it expected to be paid to the customer? Right? So all these things, if they are integrated, it would be easier for the management. And that is exactly what ERP does. ERP is not just a small software which can be implemented separately for each function. ERP is an integrated software which integrates various functions of an organization. This is very important. And SAP is an ERP. So we are not saying SAP is only the ERP available. There are many other ERP products available in the market. Some are small, some are big. The biggest one is SAP. If you see in terms of the market share also, and if you see most of the bigger industries, most of the bigger organizations, which ERP they are using, you will get the answer they are using SAP. So there are some other players also. There are some other ERP vendors also who are providing the ERP services, but SAP is currently, maybe from last 10-15 years, SAP is the most popular ERP product available in the market. Okay, so just remember, SAP is an ERP. It is the software which integrates all the different functions of an organization. What are the different functions? Different functions can be procurement, sales, accounting, production, warehouse, supply chain, and all. Okay, but before that, what exactly SAP stands for? So maybe the first point I will write here is SAP stands for Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. This is a full form of SAP. Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. Okay, so even if you remember, this much is not enough. It is very important to include this also. So whenever you are going for the interviews, normally for the beginners, they can ask this question: do you know the full form of SAP? So if you just remember S is systems, A is applications, and P is products, it is not enough. This one is very important. So systems, applications, and products in data processing. This is the full form of SAP. Okay, so SAP is one of the ERP product available in the market. Now, what are the different products available in the market? So what are the different ERP products? Obviously, number one is SAP. Do you know any other ERPs? Have you heard about any other ERPs?
Microsoft Dynamics, Oracle,
Oracle,
BAN,
Of Dynamics, yes, one by one. Oracle, BAN,
Ramco Marshall, Indian one,
Ramco. Which one you said? Any others? You remember?
Tally will not come under ERP.
Although they say Tally as ERP, but according to the definition, it should not come under the ERP. But maybe for the smaller companies, if they are saying yes, they can manage their inventory, they can manage their purchases, is fine. Okay, so maybe if you want, I can enter Tally also here. So now the thing is, although we can say these are the ERP products, but again, it totally depends upon the size of the company. So if, for example, if this Microsoft Dynamics, and there is another product from Microsoft, which is Microsoft Navision. So these two products, Microsoft themselves tells that these two products are mainly for small and medium scale industries. These are not for the companies who are huge companies. Okay, if I go for the huge companies, most of the huge companies, what softwares they are using? So SAP and Oracle, these are the two ERP products which are used by the big scale industries. Otherwise, even BAN was very popular previously. If you go 15-20 years back, BAN was even more, not even 15-20, even more than that, 25-30 years back, BAN was more powerful than SAP. SAP came later. BAN was even more powerful. BAN, JD Edwards, these were some of the ERP products available during those days. But later on, what happened is, when Oracle came into the picture, slowly Oracle acquired all these companies. So I think BAN even JD Edwards, Bahn, PeopleSoft. These are various different products which were acquired by Oracle, and now these are part of Oracle itself. So within Oracle apps, it includes some of the functionalities of Bahn, some of the functionalities of PeopleSoft. Okay, and that is the reason nowadays Bahn, JD Edwards, it's like a history. Although there are some companies who are using it, but still it is not that much which it was around 25, 30 years back. Ramco again is a small scale ERP product. Most of these smaller scale industries, if they want to go for the ERPs, they go for Ramco. And Tally again, although they say Tally as ERP, but it is very strong in terms of finance, in terms of accounting and finance. But when it comes to the other departments, it is not that much strong. You can see the costing itself. Tally is hardly some thousands. SAP is in crores, right? If you want to implement, let's say you have your own company. If you want to implement Tally, it will just cost you some thousands. But if you are going for SAP, it will cost you crores. Same way, all these are in between. So if you go for maybe PeopleSoft, or if you may go for Ramco, then it would be some lakhs. Okay, so these are the different ERP products which are available in market, out of which, as I told you, most of the big scale industries are using SAP. Okay, it totally depends upon the volume of the business. And again, you need to also remember one thing. When we say SAP, SAP is not only SAP S/4HANA or SAP ECC. SAP also has some other products available in the market which are suitable for the small scale industries. For example, within SAP, we have SAP S/4HANA, which is the latest one. Then we have SAP ECC, which was being used from last 15-20 years. And then, so these two are for big scale industries. Okay, but if you come to the small scale industries, SAP has SAP B1, you must have heard. SAP B1 and SAP by Design. These are the two products which SAP also has for the small and medium scale industries, small and medium scale enterprises. Right? So SAP is an ERP, but SAP is not only the ERP. There are a lot of other ERP vendors available in the market which are competing with SAP. Okay, but still, because of the features of SAP ECC and SAP S/4HANA from last 15-20 years, SAP is very much powerful in the market. Okay, now coming to little bit history of SAP, how exactly all these things started. Okay, where are we today and what were the different things happened during this journey. So let's talk about small history of SAP. So this is a story of 5 German engineers. Okay, they were working in IBM. So this is somewhere around 1960s. What story I'm showing you, this is around 1960s. So during 1960s, there were some, there were IBM, you know, IBM is a company which is operational from last many years. So IBM was working on a project. There was a project which was being developed by these 5 German engineers, and that product was to create the kind of ERP, which means this company for which they were developing this product. Again, that company was, in some of the books, it is written Xerox Corporation. You all know photocopy. Whenever we go for photocopy in India, even we the name that we use for photocopy is Xerox. So Xerox was a company who was planning to implement, who was planning to develop something which is consolidating or which is integrating all the different functions of the organization, because they were using, before that they were using separate softwares for each departments, right? So these 5 German engineers, they started working on this project. Okay, and During the project itself, after few months or after few years, when they started working on this project, due to some reason, Xerox said, I am no more interested in this product. Okay, due to maybe they have delayed the project, or maybe Xerox had something other thing in mind, or maybe Xerox already got some other product. We are not worried about that. Just in short, just remember, due to any reason, Xerox has stopped developing that project, and they said we are no longer looking for this project. Now these five guys, they already invested lot of effort. Okay, they have created a very good product, but still IBM said no, customer is not looking for this product anymore, so stop developing this. So these guys decided that okay, if customer is not looking for this product, we can see there is a lot of potential in the product that we are developing. So if he starts continuing on this project, and if we go to the market and we start kind of do marketing of this project and help the companies to implement this, we will be definitely benefited. So these guys left IBM, they continued to work on that particular product. Okay, and finally, in somewhere in 1970s, they came up with the first version of SAP. First product from SAP. Okay, and it was in small bit and pieces. It is not like it was a complete ERP product. So the first product from SAP which came, it was strong in finance. Only financials, basics of HR was developed in 1970s. Officially, in 1972, if you go through the books of SAP, or if you go through the Google, when exactly SAP started. So SAP was found as a company in 1972. Okay, so 1972 was a year when this company was found, and they officially started selling the SAP products in the market. Right, so the history, wherever you will be able to see, it will start from 1972. 1972, SAP registered as a company and they started selling the products. So starting from 1972 till today, 2020, there are various different products which were developed by SAP. So obviously the 1972 was basic functions. Later on in 1980s, they developed additional functions. 1990s, they came up with additional functions. 2000, they came up with more and more features. And today we are talking about SAP S/4HANA. So in 1972, the product that they came up with, let's say it is R1. Okay, I'll tell you what is R1, R2, and R3. Somewhere in 1980s, they came up with R2. This is just for example. I'm not putting the dates. No need to worry about the dates because we don't need to go into that much detail, but we need to understand that the development is happening throughout the years. So 1990s, they came up with R3, or maybe, yeah, in 2005, they came up with ERP. Okay, the name is ERP, although R3 is also ERP. It doesn't mean that the ERP was developed in 2005. Even R3 was ERP, so they said in 2005, the product they came up with is ERP, which is also referred as ECC. Most of the customers today who are using SAP, they are using SAP ECC today. In most of the companies, if you will go for consulting, you will find that most of the customers are using SAP ECC today. Okay, and in 2015, SAP came up with SAP S/4HANA. So this SAP S/4HANA, what we are learning, is comparatively a very new product. There is not enough consultants available on this technology. See, there are two things. When I say consultants are not available, don't think about those consultants who are just certified. Just certification is not enough. Okay, if you feel that I have done the certification, I became SAP S/4HANA consultant, that is not going to be the case. If you want to become a SAP S/4HANA consultant, you need to understand the topic. You need to work on the system. You need to get lots of hands-on, and then only you will be able to say I'm successful SAP S/4HANA consultant. Okay, so throughout this course, don't feel that after the end of the course, if I've done the certification, my target is achieved. That is not the target at all. Okay, definitely you'll be able to write the exam without any problem, but that is not your target. That is just an additional, you can say additional advantage. When you go into the market, you can say I am certified. But once you are certified, it doesn't mean that everything is done now, you will easily get a job. You have to work on the system, you have to do the hands-on, you have to work on various different scenarios, and make sure that whenever, even if you get a chance to sit in a single interview, you should be able to answer those basic questions, what you know in your own module. If you're not able to do that, there is no point. Just certification is not enough. Okay, so even today, as I told you, there are many opportunities available for SAP S/4HANA consultants. But the thing is, when we take the interviews, we found out, although he is certified, but he has still not seen any screen in SAP S/4HANA system itself. He just got some PDFs, he just got some questions from some of his friends, and he has just given the exam, he is certified. But that is not enough. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that the agenda for this next 2.5 months, what you are going to do is, don't just feel that my target is to get certified. Your target should be to become hands-on, to try each and every scenario, whatever has been taught in this course. And if you are getting any questions, if you are getting any errors, I'll explain you how you can use our forum. You can write your question on the forum, you can help each other. Okay, and make sure that each and every scenario you have executed and you have submitted the report at the end of the course. Okay, so this is not a school, so I cannot tell you I will not give the marks if you don't submit this, but it is your responsibility. If you do it, you only will be benefited. It is not for me, it is for you only. Okay, so finally in 2015, SAP came up with SAP S/4HANA. Okay, so we don't need to go into the details of R1, we don't need to go into the details of R2. What we will do is, we will quickly see R3, because this is still being used in the industry. Nowhere you will go and you will find that they are still using R2. Maybe, I think hardly 1 or 2% of the customers will be using R2. But there are still some good amount of customers, around 30% of the customers are still using R3. So definitely you need to have a simple idea of R3. There are around, I'll say, another 40-50% of the customers are using ERP, and there are only 5 to 10% of the customers, even 5% would be more, I think, because it is comparatively a new product. Many companies have started implementing, but they have still not completed their implementation. So hardly 5% of the companies are using SAP S/4HANA. But going forward, now any company, when they are implementing SAP, they will never go for ECC or R3. Most of the projects which are running today, they are running SAP S/4HANA implementation projects or SAP S/4HANA conversion projects. Only support projects are running ECC and R3. All the implementations, upgradations are happening on SAP S/4HANA. Okay. Yeah, there are some questions on the chat screen. I got one question from Deepak. He's saying, maybe related to the last slide, the cost and complexities are few of the drawbacks of SAP as well. Yes. So as I told you, SAP is very powerful. Deepak is making a point that the cost of SAP is definitely huge, and complexity in the processes is also the drawback of SAP. So the thing is, obviously, if you are looking for the product which provides you all the functionals, all the departments in one single system, definitely if that is being successfully used in the industry, the cost would be more. It is cost of the quality, right? Number one. Number two, when you are saying it is complex, obviously, if you create a simple software which only takes care of accounting, it would be simple to use. But if you are creating a software which is having more than 30-40 departments, 30-40 modules, definitely it will be complex. So it is not a complexity of the system. It is a complexity in the understanding of the business processes, who is executing this, business users. If the business users are able to understand it clearly, how it can be used, if they are getting properly trained, then there is no complexity. Complexity, when we say complex, anything is complex if you don't know how to operate it. When SAP has developed it, they already know how to operate it. But the users who are using this system, if they are not trained properly to use that system, they will always complain that it is complex. So more the features, automatically the system will become complex, right? That is not only SAP, not only ERP, any small mobile also, if there are multiple functions, automatically that will become complex. Okay, any questions till now before I go to the next slide? Nagesh has also asked the question. Nagesh, I will park this question as of now because we have still not discussed anything on HANA till now. We will talk about it.
Okay.
Any other question anyone got?
I will put an additional thing on this SAP costing and expensive and difficult in use. Like I have used many ERPs earlier also, what do you call legacy ones other than SAP. Other than SAP, we normally call it as legacy if you have implemented SAP at your organization. Though the screens looks very complicated or whatever, we feel it a lot of information it gives in one single screen or one place. It's very easy for the business as such. As an person like when looking into certain aspects, it will be easy at one point you will get everything, the flows or anything. This is what one of the easiness, though it may be costlier and difficult for operating initially, but over a period of time if you look it is really good one, and that's what I feel in person.
Right. No, even when we are talking about SAP S4 HANA, so maybe yeah, ECC was complicated. We all understand. Basically, the reason was the GUI, the old screens that we are using from years. But now, if you have a look at SAP S4 HANA, you will find out that the screens are all Fiori based, which means browser based. It is like even you can generate your analytics from the Fiori itself. Okay, so I think these are big terminologies because there are some guys who are completely beginners. So as of now, I don't want to unnecessarily create the complexities for them. But yes, just after this 4 sessions, you will get a clear idea of how what exactly SAP S4 HANA can offer and how this complexity that we had initially or previously, how it has been converted to the simplicity. Okay, so SAP S4 HANA is comparatively far simpler than the ECC system. Okay, so you will get that answer. Okay, any questions before I go to the next one now? Okay, if not, let's talk about the next scenario. So I just, as I told you, I want to give the brief of these three products, R3, ERP, and SAP S4HANA. So what exactly is the difference? How SAP is coming up with different products, and what exactly was the benefit of using R3 compared to R2? Then why SAP came up with SAP ECC, which problems of R3 were solved? And finally, how SAP S4HANA will solve the problems which came up with SAP ECC. Right, so comparing R3, ECC, and S4. First of all, what exactly is R3? This is again a common question which is asked in the interviews. What do you mean by R3? It is called as three-tier architecture. R3 stands for three-tier architecture. Now, what do you mean by three-tier architecture? Let me ask you the simple question. Whenever you want to book a railway ticket or you want to book a movie ticket, what do you do? How do you book the movie or railway ticket nowadays?
Online.
Online, either you using computer or using laptop or using your mobile device, right?
Yes.
So this mobile device, this laptop, this computer is called as presentation layer. Whatever PC, laptop or mobile that you are using, that is your presentation layer. Okay, once you start interacting, let's say you open the application on your mobile. Now, is this application available in your mobile, or it is like I'm talking about the server? So for example, you are trying to book the railway ticket. You open that particular app on your mobile. Now it will ask you various different selections, like from which station to which station, which date, which class, all these things are asked to you. So this application, is it something which is developed on your mobile, or it is a common application which is being used by all the other mobile devices and many other computers also? It is not one-to-one developed application, right? The application is not only developed for you. Your presentation server is only for you. The computer, laptop, or the mobile that you are using, it is user specific. But the application is being shared by multiple different users, right? You can also download the same app. I can also download the same app. So second layer is called as application layer. Right? In the application, what exactly is the application? So it will ask you which date, which station, which class. This is the application. Once you enter all these details and once you book the ticket, once you have completed booking the ticket, what will happen? Your information, your ticket number, PNR number, everything will be stored in a database. Right? So there is a third layer called as database. Okay, so when we say three-tier architecture means we have three layers. A presentation layer, using which you do the transaction, either your computer, your laptop, or your mobile device. Application, which asks you the information. And finally, the database layer, where exactly the data will get stored. In terms of SAP, let's try to understand in terms of SAP now. So presentation layer, if you are doing any transaction in SAP, you do the SAP logon pad, enter your user ID and password, and let's say you want to create a purchase order. So you will go to transaction ME21N or whatever transaction it is. You will go to that transaction. You will enter the details. This is my vendor. I want this material, this much quantity, this much price. These are my payment terms. Everything you will enter in the application. Okay, application will ask you what information you want to enter. And as soon as you click on save, purchase order will be created and that will get stored in the database. So before R3, what was happening is, you must have heard previously there were big computers, room size computers. So there were not three different layers. There was a single computer. Presentation is also same, application is also same, and database is also same. Right? But starting from R3, it is possible that your database can be stored at one single place. For example, if I'm working in a European company, let's say I'm working in Indian store of a European company. I have a small grocery store. Okay, let's take example of Walmart. Now Walmart is in India also. Walmart is in US also. So ultimately the database, let's assume, is kept at US. So as a store person, if I am a person who is doing this billings at the counter, so I'm using a small computer. You can see if you go to the Walmart, you'll be able to see the small computer which they have. So they are entering their details in that computer. So that computer is nothing but their presentation layer. They are accessing the application where they are asking what is the item code. They are scanning the item code. The price is coming automatically. They are entering the quantity. So that is the application. And as soon as they save, that data will get stored in the database, which is kept at US. So this architecture where your database, application, and presentation can be different computers, this was only introduced with R3. Before that, it was a single computer. You go there, whatever transactions you want to do there, it will be stored in that PC itself. There is no network connectivity, nothing. Okay, so that is, you need to understand R3 layer means you have three different layers: presentation, application, and database. Clear with this? Whenever you see this R3, just remember R3 stands for three-tier architecture. What do you mean by three-tier architecture? So there are three layers, you can say: presentation layer, application layer, and database layer. Okay, just give one example and the interviewer will be impressed. Just to give one example, that presentation layer, let's assume I'm doing the SAP transaction. My presentation layer is a computer or a laptop that I'm using. When I connect to my laptop, it will ask me to log on into SAP. When I log in into SAP, I will be connected to the application. In the application, I'll be able to enter the details, like who is the vendor, what is the material, and ultimately, as soon as I save it, it will go and store in the database. So this is a 3-tier architecture. What is R3? This was developed, as I told you, around somewhere in between 1980s and 1990s. Okay, so during that time, this was a big achievement. Okay, during that time, it was a big achievement, but nowadays it is a very straightforward activity. Even a small shopkeeper is having presentation layer in mobile application he has developed, and you can place the order on your from mobile itself. So this is not more any new thing. Presentation application database has become very common nowadays. So in order to make the improvements, SAP came up with ECC. In ECC, in addition to R3, R3 is definitely there. It is an improved version of R3. In ECC, apart from this 3-tier architecture, there are a lot of new functionalities added. Okay, so what are those new functionalities? Some new modules were added. And in addition to the new modules, some simplifications from accounting point of view. Okay, not only accounting. Why I'm saying accounting? Because when you say ECC, normally you will be able to see this new GL. No need to worry about this new GL as of now. In finance, we will discuss this in detail. But the one of the biggest benefit when SAP ECC came into the picture, it contains new GL accounting, using which your financial reports can be generated faster. Right? See, ultimately, any product, when R3 came, or when ECC came, or when SAP S/4HANA came, ultimately, who is the decision maker? Who will decide whether I should upgrade my project or not? See, in a department, in a company, obviously there is a purchase department, there is a sales department, there is a production department. But ultimately, if there is no money, there is no point in having production, purchase, sales. Ultimately, everything is related to money. And money comes where? In the finance department. So CFOs, chief financial officers, are normally the person who takes the decision whether to upgrade the product or not. And if you want to impress the CFOs, so there can be various different reasons. Your purchase will become faster, your sales will become faster, but ultimately, what is CFO's responsibility? These are all supporting factors. If my purchasing is becoming faster, definitely good. If my sales is streamlining, definitely good. But ultimately, as a CFO, what is my KRA? What is my KRA? Key responsibility area. My responsibility is I should be able to close my financial books on time. My auditors should get the financial reports on time. And that is the reason what normally SAP does is, with any new product, the first concentration is given to what has been improved from the finance point of view, so that it can be impressed to the CFOs of the organization, who are ultimately the decision makers, whether to go for these new products or not. Okay, so that is the reason this is straightly highlighted. But apart from this, there are a lot of simplifications in the logistics features also, MM and SD also, when it is compared to R3 with ECC. So with ECC, SAP introduced some new modules, some new simplifications into different logistics modules also. And finally, SAP came up with SAP S/4HANA in 2015. Now, one of the biggest benefit of using SAP S/4HANA is this HANA. Okay, what exactly is this HANA? So as of now, in this slide, I will not introduce HANA. I will just write some benefits of it. And in the next slide, we will talk in detail of what exactly is HANA and how it will benefit the organization. So with SAP S/4HANA, the first benefit is new database. Number one. Number two, improved functionalities. So there are a lot of new functionalities, and there are some functionalities which are already there, but those are improved. So I can say new and improved functionalities. Not only in finance, not only in SD, not only in MM, improved functionalities in almost all modules. And then very importantly, new user interface. So as I told you, till now, we were using old SAP screens. With SAP S/4HANA, SAP came up with new user interface, which is called as Fiori. Okay, as of now, if you are not able to digest this terminologies, don't worry. In next 4 sessions, these things will be very clear in your mind. What is Fiori? What is HANA? Why should I go for HANA? So as of now, I'm just introducing these topics. When we say new database, it is HANA. So HANA is a database. Fiori is a user interface. And then apart from HANA and Fiori, there are some new and improved functionalities in each and every module that SAP S/4HANA provides. So ultimately, why new database? New database is introduced for faster execution. What faster execution? So if you are doing the transaction, let's take an example. I think this you will be able to correlate. Many times when you go to the railway booking website, or when you go to the movie ticket booking website, what happens is many times it is dead slow. Okay, you are trying to search whether the train is available between this route and this route, and when you click on search, it takes a lot of time to show you the results. And what is the answer that you get? The answer is server is slow. Why server is slow? Because there are many people who are trying to access the same database from different locations. So what is the solution? Is it like we should survive like that only? So today there are 10,000 users, tomorrow there will be 1 lakh users. So if we don't take the action, what will happen? We'll not be able to do anything. We'll not be able to book the tickets if we just don't do any action here. So what is the action? The action is we should improve our database. We know that this is a fact, that there are more and more users will work on this system. There are more and more users who will keep on increasing day by day, and they will be booking these tickets. So we cannot leave it as it is. We need to improve it. So how can we improve it? Let's improve the database. How can we improve the database? Then comes the technical thing, right? So you deploy more RAM. Okay, this is very common even in your mobile device. If your mobile becomes slow, what you will do? Definitely you will go for that mobile where there is more RAM, so that your processes are faster. Same way, SAP came up with SAP S/4HANA. In SAP S/4HANA, SAP came up with the new database. What exactly this new database does? This new database uses more RAM, uses new advanced tools to make your processes faster. So if you have worked on ECC, if your customer is complaining that my processes are too slow, it is taking a lot of time to execute the processes, what is the answer to that question? Answer to that question is HANA. HANA will give you the speed to perform your transactions, to execute your reports. Okay, so SAP S/4HANA, just remember 3 things. Why SAP S/4HANA? Number 1, it provides a new database which will make sure that your processes are executing faster. It provides you new and improved functionalities, and it is also providing you the new user interface in terms of Fiori, which will be like browser-based screen where you'll be able to do the transactions very easily. Even there is not much training required for the end user. Okay, so these are some of the benefits. These are some of the comparisons between R3, ECC, and S/4HANA. So the latest one is SAP S/4HANA. What is the full form of ECC? ECC stands for Enterprise Central Component. Yes. Okay, what exactly is the full form of S/4HANA?
High performance analytical appliance.
That is the full form of HANA. High performance analytical appliance is the full form of HANA. But what is the full form of SAP S/4HANA? What is the full form of this? See, there is a difference between S/4HANA and HANA. These are not the same things. HANA and S4HANA, there is a big difference.
SAP Business Suite on HANA.
SAP Business Suite on HANA is not S4HANA.
Generation
SAP
4?
HANA is SAP ECC system running on HANA database. We will talk about all these things. So as of now, I'll just provide you the description. What is the full form? SAP Business Suite for SAP HANA. This for makes a big difference. Huh? For and
Okay.
on, it makes a big difference. When we say for, just remember, for stands for for. If you say on, then it will become ECC. SAP Business Suite on HANA and SAP Business Suite for HANA, there is a big difference.
Can we consider this S4 as generation 4 also, or like it is?
Definitely. This is, see, everything is generation. Now, if you compare R3 during that time in 1980s, 1990s, definitely this is a generation difference. So normally when you say fourth generation, fifth generation, so normally they given this 4 as fourth generation, but it doesn't comes in the full form. Although in many places you will find this 4 stands for the fourth generation, but it has nothing to do with the full form. So I'm just saying that in order to remember, just remember this 4 is nothing but for. Okay, so SAP, this is Business Suite. S means Business Suite for HANA. So even if you remove this SAP, that is fine. You use it, that is also fine. If you remove it, that is also fine. So SAP Business Suite for HANA. Simple way to remember this. Okay. Any questions? Deepak, are you there on the call?
Yes, I am.
I think you written something through the website. So you have any questions?
No, I think I will take it later on.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay. Any questions till now? No questions. Okay. So let me take you this simpler topic for next 15-20 minutes, which is very important for you to understand, is what are different roles when it comes to SAP. So you must have heard SAP consultant. This is one. You might have heard SAP end user. Okay. And then, okay, let me first clarify these two things. These are very important to understand. What are we doing here? Are we taking the training on SAP consultant or we are taking the training on SAP end user? What is your understanding?
SAP
Both,
consultant.
SAP consultant, not end user?
I think both.
Both.
Both, right? Both are important. If you want to become a good consultant, you definitely need to be a very good end user. Maybe you don't need the experience to become the end user, but at least because it is your responsibility as SAP consultant to provide the training to the end user. So how will you provide the training to the end user if you yourself don't know what is the job of the end user? So we are going to learn.
I think
Yeah,
you should
sorry.
be first end user and then you can go for a being consultant.
No, they will go hand in hand. You cannot
Yeah.
say first end user and then consultant. Yes, that is also possible. But in that case, you have to revisit lot of terminologies again and again. But if you follow the path, if you go hand in hand, it will make more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you just go for SAP end user training, then you don't need the consultant training. End user is just, he will come and he will perform the transaction without worrying upon how to do the configuration in the background. Okay, so just think in this way. If you are a end user, let's say you bought a new TV. Okay, let's say you bought a new TV. Now This is a completely new TV. No, like it is, all the features are new. So you don't know how to operate it. In this case, you are an end user or you are a consultant. You bought a new TV. So you are a consultant or you are an end user for using that TV.
End user.
End
End
user.
user.
Watch the TV. You don't need to do anything with what is being used in the background. You want to watch the TV, you want to use various features which are provided in the TV, right? But how will you use the TV if you don't know how to operate it? So normally what happens, right? Once you buy a new TV, they will give you the TV in the box and they will ask you, don't touch it. Our representative will come and he will prepare it before you start using it. So what is that representative? Actually, he is a consultant. Okay, same way. Okay, maybe let's continue this example. So as a consultant, he will come, he will set up the TV. Okay, he will also give you the training. He will tell you, okay, this is a remote, this is a button which will allow you to use this functionality, this is a button which will allow you to use this functionality. If you have any questions, you can ask, otherwise my handover is done. Once the handover is done, then as an end user, you will use it for years, right? And again, let's say after 5 days, you came to know that there is a new feature, but I'm not aware about it, how to use it. What you will do? Again, you will contact the consultant, right? Maybe if you call the toll-free number, the person who will be helping you to use that functionality, again, he's a consultant because he already knows how to use that functionality. So when it comes to SAP, who is the end user? Let's take an example. Let's take an example of Reliance Communication, just for example's sake. Reliance Communication is using SAP from years. But let's assume Reliance Communication has another subsidiary which they acquired, and now they want to implement SAP. So what they will do, first of all, they will contact SAP and they will buy SAP licenses from there. Okay, so they bought, in our example, they bought the TV. In SAP terms, they bought the license. Now, once they buy the license, they cannot directly start using it because their user doesn't know how to implement it, how to use it. It has to be implemented first. It has to be set up. Then only you will start using it. So what will happen? They will call the team of consultants. Who are the consulting teams? Who are the service providers who are good in consulting? So you must have heard Accenture, Capgemini, right? Wipro, TCS, Infosys. What exactly these companies are doing? These are the companies who are providing SAP consulting. So Reliance Communication will buy the licenses from SAP for implementing it. For starting to use that SAP system, they will need the consultants. So they will either select Infosys as their consultants, or they will select TCS or Accenture or Capgemini or maybe any other small service provider who is also providing the consulting service. Once finalized, Accenture team, Capgemini team, or any other team will come to the Reliance Communication. They will start implementing SAP. Okay, and finally, once everything has been set up, they will hand over to the end users. They will give the proper training. This is how you should use SAP. This is how you will be able to post the invoice. This is how you will be able to make the payment. So the complete training will be provided to the end user. And once the end user starts using the system, he may come up with the queries, he may come up with the errors. So again, there will be the consulting team to support. Support means once you start using the system, once the end user starts using the system, if he is getting some errors, then it is a support team responsibility to resolve that errors. What does the implementation team does? Implementation team comes even before an end user start entering the transactions. Implementation team is responsible for implementing the system from scratch, right? So as a SAP consultant, what are the different things you will be doing? You will be either involved in the implementation projects, or you will be involved in the support projects. Okay, these are the two very important projects that a SAP consultant will work on. So what happens normally when you start your career in SAP, because this implementation requires lot of interaction with the customer. You need to visit the customer premises, you need to talk to the higher managements to understand their requirements so that you can implement. So normally this implementation part is given to someone who is senior, but in some cases with that senior there can be some 2-3 juniors who will help him in the background. So if you are very lucky, you can become part of the implementation team on day one itself. But normally most of the companies prefer for the newcomers to start with the support project, because support project is normally done in the background. So customer will raise one ticket. Okay, there is a ticketing tool from where he will raise a ticket. You will go to that tool, you will see, okay, this is a particular requirement of a customer is getting this error. Okay, you will try to solve on your own, but if you are not able to solve on your own, you can always take a help of your seniors. Okay, so in the support project, you can provide the support to the customer from the background. But when it comes to the implementation, normally this is customer facing. So you have to visit the customer's premises normally. Nowadays, because this COVID and even there are a lot of factors, if it requires a travel, if you are implementing, let's say your customer is in Europe or your customer is in US, so many times this implementation can be also handled offline, but at least few consultants will be there on site during the implementation project. So as a consultant, you will be responsible for implementation for the new customers, and you will be responsible for support, which means whenever a customer is getting any error, whenever customer is having any query, they will contact you and then you need to provide the solution. Who is the end user? End user is not responsible for implementation and support. End user is responsible for doing day-to-day transactions. So what are day-to-day transactions? Again, it depends. If this end user is, let's take the example of the end users. End users can be accountants who are part of the accounting team. They can be purchasers, part of purchasing team. They can be salespersons who are taking the orders from the customers and entering in the system, or they can be production designers, production engineers who are creating the production orders in the system. Right? Same way, as a consultant also, you don't need to remember everything. As a consultant also, you don't need to support to accountants also, to purchasers also, to salespersons also, to production engineers also. Why? Because as a consultant also, you will be responsible for one thing at a time. So either you are a finance consultant. If you are a finance consultant, you will be working directly with accountants to gather their requirements. Or you are a purchasing consultants, you can say procurement consultants, which is nothing but MM. So when we say FI, it is nothing but FICO consultants. When you say procurement consultants, it means MM. When you say sales and distribution, it is nothing but SD. And when you say production, it means PP module in SAP. So as a consultant, again, you don't need to know everything. You need to know your own area. If you are a FICO consultant, you need to understand what is there in finance. In finance, there will be GL, there will be AR, there will be AP, there will be asset accounting, bank accounting. These are the things which will come under finance. If you are a procurement consultant, you should understand the entire procurement cycle. Purchase requisition, purchase order, doing the goods receipt, purchase order approvals, okay, goods movement, inventory management, warehouse, little bit of warehouse management also comes within MM itself, right? So as a procurement consultant, you need to understand the procurement related part so that you can work with the purchasers and stores team. Okay, stores means those guys who are handling the inventory. So you need to work with them to identify what is their requirement. Based on that, in the implementation project, you will set up the procurement processes. As a SD guy, you need to work with salespersons. So creating the sales orders, doing the deliveries, managing the credits, managing the availability of the material, okay, billing the customers, making sure that the payments are received from the customers. That is all responsibility of the salesperson. And as the SD consultant, you will be helping those salespersons. Same way, as a PP consultant, you will be responsible for managing the production engineers. So what you need to know, how to create the production orders, how to create the bombs, routings. Again, if you don't know these terminologies, no need to worry. Just remember that for each and every functional, these are called as functional modules in SAP. If you want to learn these functional modules, you should have some knowledge on the basic processes. So if you want to become a finance consultant and if you don't know debit and credits, I'm not saying you cannot learn. You can learn, but parallel to learning SAP FICO, you should also start learning little bit of accounting, little bit. Even 11th book is fine. I'm not saying you need to be BCom or MCom or MBA finance. Even if you read the 11th book, what is debit, what is credit, what are the 3 types of accounts, what is the treatment of those accounts, that is enough. Same way, if you want to become a procurement consultant, you should have basic knowledge on how the purchasing cycle works. What is a quotation? What is a purchase requisition? What is a purchase order? What is a GRIR? How to do the approvals? Just the basic knowledge. But comparatively, even if you don't have any background from procurement and sales, because these things are very common day to day, right? But finance is not day to day. Finance requires debit and credit exposure. Okay, procurement and sales, even if you don't have basic knowledge today, while you go through the course, you will automatically understand what is PR, what is PO. But finance, although I will make sure that I will tell you which books to read and all, but there is little bit of domain experience, domain knowledge is also required. Just being the SAP consultant will not help. There has to be some domain knowledge because you are going to work with the top management, and if they are asking you the basic questions and if you are getting confused with debit and credit, that will make your life difficult, right? So little bit of finance knowledge is important if you want to become a SAP FICO consultant. So these are functional. Just remember, within consultants also, let me write it here. Within consultants, there are 2 parts: functional consultants, and there is something called as SAP technical consultants. What are these technical consultants? You must have heard about SAP ABAP. You must have heard about SAP Basis. What is SAP ABAP? This is, I'm just writing coding, but it is not only coding. So I'm just giving you flavor what exactly SAP ABAP consultant will do. They will create a programs for you. For example, if a customer is looking for one of the functionality, but that functionality is not available in the SAP system by default, SAP gives you the option to add new functionalities on your own. And definitely that new functionality will require some coding to be written. In that case, you will ask your ABAP consultant to write that code. Okay, as of now, I know it is not very easy to digest. Just remember, within technical 2 things, Basis and ABAP. At the end of the course, if you remember, there is a common sessions again. In that, we are going to create some functional specifications, FS. Okay, at that time, you'll be able to understand these 2 technical objects. Okay, so just remember, what are the different roles within SAP industry? You can become a SAP functional consultant, you can become a SAP technical consultant, or you will be SAP end user. In addition to this, there will be SAP project manager, there would be program manager. So those are the things which are above the consultant level. So this should be very clear now, the difference between end user and consultants. You should not get confused between these 2 terminologies, because throughout the course, we will understand whatever activity we are doing, whether this is consultant's responsibility or this is the end user responsibility. Okay, although we are going to do both, but we have to segregate. Otherwise, when you start working on the project, you will become confused. But I know both, but whether it is my responsibility to do this or this is a user's responsibility to do it. Okay. Any questions? If not, I think it was too much for today. Just the first session. I don't want to unnecessarily bombard a lot of things. If you have any questions, please open up.
As a technical, I mean, as a functional consultant, how much technical, technicalities need to be known or anything on that? And about
as a
testing,
functional, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
And like how much of testing, like normally end users do the testing part to ascertain that whatever the requirements he has given, whether functional consultant has implemented it as per his requirements. So in this aspect, how much end user should know the technical things and how much functional person should know the technical aspects?
No, see, when we say technical, in SAP terminology, technical means this too. But what you asked, you were not asked in this domain. You said how much technicality end user should know. So if you are talking about this thing, we don't, as a functional consultant also, we don't need to worry about this. As an end user also, we don't need to worry about this. But you asked for the training, sorry, testing.
Yes.
So when it comes to the testing, let's say when you are implementing SAP, you will ask the customer what functionalities you want to use. So let's say customer said, I want to create an invoice. This is what I want to use in the system. So what you will do, you will set up the invoice processing in the system. But before you do this to the user, before you go to the user and ask him that I have configured, now you test it, it is our responsibility to do the testing throughout and then give it to the user. So before the end user test, we have to test it on our own.
Okay. So as a functional consultant, we'll be having a role as a tester also additionally.
Definitely. There are a lot of tests. See, within the test terminology also, there are a lot of tests like unit test, integration test, user acceptance test. So based on what testing you are doing, it has to be decided whether it will be done by the end user or by the consultant. So the testing that we do as a consultant is called as unit testing. Okay. And the test the end user will do is called as user acceptance test, UAT.
Yeah, understood.
Okay. Anyone has any questions? Okay, if not, what I will do is I will upload this PPT on the Google Classroom. I think you already got the link to that. You'll be able to see this PPT over there itself. And we will keep on updating this PPT along with whatever sessions we'll be having. So as I told you, first initial sessions, even tomorrow also, maybe I'll give you the glimpse of SAP system. I'll show you the system server and all. But for few sessions, we will continue our discussion on PPTs itself. But once we are done with this initial discussions, once we are in the separate classes for FICO, for MM and SD, then we will be doing everything practically in the system. So I'll be providing you the PPTs, but during the sessions, we will not concentrate on PPTs. We will be just looking at the system. Okay, thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Tomorrow at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah, tomorrow same time, and you can use the same link.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Go to meeting.
Thank you.